happy to share this training with you this weekend, and I just wanted to go over all of our materials so you would have this as a reference. And so this is the AerialYogaPlay teacher training, and we're going to mainly be using the smaller manual, the AYP manual, and that is a video manual. So you will have all of your videos that you need to do the reviewing that you want to be comfortable teaching, not just after the weekend, but after, like, say, 30 days of really practicing and dropping in with the teacher training and the videos. So there's written, and then, of course, we're going to practice together, which is super important that we get it in our bodies, because it's always coming from a place of your embodiment first, and then you can teach it from that place of embodied wisdom. Super important to take it from that standpoint. Mm-hmm. And then I love this new AerialX manual. So we'll reference the AerialX training manual as well quite often, and that is the mother load. It has 206 pages of goodness, and then there's all these body models and templates that interface really nicely with the new website, the Aerial Yoga RX website. And so the AerialYogaPlay is the practice. So AYP is the practice. It's the nuts and bolts. It's learning the poses. It's getting into the short and sweet descriptions of how you can access the swing for a new person. There's beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So we're going to go through the therapeutics and the restorative for beginner. So that's yoga translations 1 through 4. And if you want to look at the outline here, this is the outline that we use for today, that you'll notice that everything's written out in, like, really short, sweet, and concise. And then for the intermediate training, we're going to learn all the inversions and the strength training. So that is yoga translations 5 through 8. And then on Sunday, we'll go over the 9 through 12 and the acrobatics. So Sunday is both reviewing restorative to give people a break, and then the acrobatics, which of course is the flying and the flips and the fun, but we have to learn all the physics and all the pivot points and all the leveraging of our power on the intermediate, which is Saturday, so that you're comfortable teaching the advanced and the acrobatics. So I really do step you through how to teach a beginner class. So a beginner class would be 1 through 4. Everyone asks me after the training, so what do I do to teach a beginner class? If you just follow that sequence, it's set up 1 through 4 would be a really great introduction to the swing. So we go through the upright positions, the upright postures, which is 1. So that includes sumo squat, which is kind of our #1 go-to sitting pose. And then we do back bends and lunges. We learn how to do the twist and the side-to-side and the movements in those. Then in #2, we go into forward fold. So we're switching from the swing underneath our arms to the swing at our hips, the front of our hips. And I wanted to just go over that these are the 2 major hubs of the body. So a lot of people have injury in their neck and shoulders, and a lot of people have injury in their lower back, and the swing happens to hit these 2 major points in the body. And it's incredibly effective for releasing the buildup of congestion in the lymph system, the impingement of the nerves that run along the central pathway of the spine, and working with the C7 joint as well as the SI joint. So this is the pathway of the nervous system as well. So we're getting into the circulation of the body and the lymph of the body, and then ultimately the endocrine system of the body, the energy managers, by doing these simple poses. So it's really important that we actually follow step by step how to walk somebody safely, the holds and the anchors, get them in and out of the swing so they're feeling comfortable. It's intense on these parts of the body. We're not used to hanging by our armpits or hanging by our hip flexors. It feels like a deep rolfing session, because we're digging into all that connective tissue, all that fascia, that sheath over the body that gets stuck, and it's actually impinging and suffocating the muscles. The muscles aren't the problem. It's usually the fascia. And this special swing material and the way that it stretches, and it's really thick and cotton lycra blend, it interfaces so sweetly with the surface of the skin. It isn't as cutting and rug burny and pinchy. So it's specifically designed to work with the myofascial body as well as the neuromuscular points. So after we go through 1 and 2, we're going to get back into the swing with the swing behind our back and incorporate the leg loops. Now the leg loops allow us to move in multidimensional space. this is really different than other practices. I like to call the new distinction is AirX, AYRX. And so AYP with a little swoosh at the end turns into AirX. And so the AirX is really somewhere between aerial yoga and TRX. That's the way I like to think of it now. Aerial yoga has the kind of polyester nylon fabric hanging in a loop, sometimes a single point, sometimes a double point, but there's no handholds and leg loops. And then TRX has the straps where you can do a lot of strength training, but it's a static system and obviously different. But this, you can use all the same moves with the leg loops, and then there's handholds up at the top connected to the swing. So AirX is the new distinction of the therapeutics and the restorative practice that I've created. My background happens to be engineering and physics, so I come from the scientific standpoint, and I like to teach physics through play, which is the whole parent project, the Quantum Playground. And then I incorporate the 20 years of being dedicated to the healing arts into that. So Healing Technologies is my main company, but from there I've created this whole Zen healing practice of taking Eastern and Western philosophies, bringing them together, and turning that into a movement practice. So really the swing is a tool for transformation. It's an extension of the healing arts for me, and it's somewhere in between healing and yoga. So AirX is the second module. We're going to work this weekend on the first module, which is AYP, and then we're going to go into some AirX practices on Monday as well. But they're two totally different teacher trainings. They're both 20 hours for a total of 40 hours, as well as we have the third module, which is coming next year, which is it's called the ACE program, ACE. And I called it ACE because it's the it's AYCE, pardon me. It's the Aerial Yoga Coaching and Empowerment with the Swing, which incorporates the sacred geometrics and the metaphysics and getting deeper into spiritual practice, that we can have the awakening of our consciousness and the uplifting of our spirit that comes from using the swing. So that's really quite exciting, and that'll be a 40-hour program that's going to be launched next year. So we have Module 1 this weekend with the beginner, intermediate, advanced, and then we have Module 2 with the AirX program, which again we're going to go into. It's divided into body parts, so it's divided into upper and lower body, and then yoga massage, and then partner play. So there's 4 levels to that as well. We'll begin that, and then we'll do more as we go along. But we'll incorporate a lot of how to use the swing to heal the spine, to open up the upper and lower back, so that pain and that limitation in movement is no longer an issue. Obviously, it's going to take time to release the patterns that are in the body, but even 5 minutes in the swing can be life-changing. And that's what we want to share with people and show people. It's just those little samples, that little snippet. And then when they really get hooked, then we can go deeper into incorporating the intermediate and advanced. But right now, Yoga Translations 1 through 4 is working with the upright postures, working with the forward folds, and then we get into some of the floating positions with the leg lifts, floating Buddha, and then we get into Chillaxin, which is kind of our #1 restorative relaxation pose where we can really access both the upper and lower back. So that's all we're going to do for today. If we have time, we'll get into some specific application for the restorative. So if somebody wanted to teach a yin class, I'll show you specifically how to just take poses or pieces of each one of those sequences and put it together in a nice, gentle, easy way for people to try out the swing. Okay, so that was a little background. We're going to get in the swing and get started. I have a little gift for you, which is the Aerial Yoga playing cards. So, of course, if it's Aerial Yoga Play, you needed a deck of playing cards. So this is a deck of 52 cards. It's broken up into 26 therapeutic and restorative, and 26 dynamic and more acrobatic poses. So the clubs, there's 13 clubs. These are all for the lower body. I kind of use some of the suits to get clever with it. And then we have hearts, which are all heart-opening poses. And then we have diamonds, which are going to be the inversions. Like a diamond goes upside down and right side up in its form. So hearts are all heart-opening, clubs are all lower body, and then stars are the most acrobatic and dynamic. They're the most advanced, right? So today we're going to be mainly focusing on clubs and hearts. And then tomorrow and Sunday we'll incorporate more of the diamonds and the stars. And then of course there's two jokers. Are you a player? Are you a swinger? To represent the RX Yoga swings and the Aerial Yoga Play. So you have to have some jokers in there, right? So yeah, so those are the 52 cards, well 54 with the jokers. Okay, and we're going to look at these cards as we go along. The cards can be used for fun, for just play, obviously. You can actually play real cards with them, but there are no, what are they called, royal cards. They're all numbers 1 through 13. But they're really used as a great study guide and a study deck. So each card has a little inspiration at the top and information at the bottom. So for Cocoon, that's Club 1, it says, relax fully, let the swing hold you. So that's the inspiration. That's more of the symbology of what the swing is capable of. You want to let the swing hold you. And that has a lot of important significance and meaning when we talk about Cocoon. And then underneath, it's just this little snippet of information, what would actually fit on the card, swing, spread out, full body inside. So we can remember, oh, that's the name of the pose, that's what it looks like, and that's how we get into it. Okay, so the cards are a really fun gift. So people can buy them individually, but I've been using them in the teacher training, and people have been loving them and talking about how useful it's been for them to learn the names in particular and to get a little quick reminder. So we'll lay these out as we go along and use them during the teacher training as well. So let's just talk about any questions that we might have, and then we'll get in the swing and get started.